podcast excellence since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network, kingofpodcasts.com.
WWE is not Netflix ready.
Woo! Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
We are recapping Survivor Series here on the Wrestling is Real podcast. Thanks for listening in. King of Podcasts here with you. Website is kingofpodcasts.com. And I feel like I'm not even talking about the wrestling so much anymore. It's not been good. And this is by what I like to call the corporate wrestling companies. WWE, which TKO is steering the ship. And AEW, which is quite influenced by Warner Brothers Discovery. And there's something about where Tony Khan's going with the product now. Both are kind of going on a downturn pretty badly. That's how it really is. It wasn't that much time for AEW to kind of go just in a direction where they're just putting matches together just to put matches together. And I think that the storylines that they're missing, some of the heat and tension that they had on some of these matches and some of the feuds that they had, everything they were doing with MJF and Adam Cole, right? And everything they were doing with Swerve Strickland and Adam Page, everything they were doing with the patriarchy. Like they're missing on some spots right now. And I don't get it. It's just not working. And, Young Bucks being the EVPs, all this here, it's missing. They're missing quite a bit right now. That's on AEW side. With Survivor Series and with WWE tonight, this is sufferingly predictable. We knew what the matches were going to be tonight and how they were going to turn out. Pretty obvious right there. So they go ahead and present us the show tonight, and I'm like, okay. I really didn't care much for the matches tonight and what we got. I just didn't. Really didn't matter much. WarGames. Women's War Game? Did not care. I couldn't have cared about the match anyway when you have, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Okay, we can't give them just one proper title match without plunder. We can't have just one match to finally resolve that story. We can't have that. No, we have to keep having other things that are coming in here to keep everything apart. Like, let's just kind of move that storyline along. And Rhea Ripley leading the team, not well. All of it. So on one side, you got Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, Bayley, Rhea Ripley. Io Sky and Bayley together after they were part of Damage Control. That was the whole mess of that. Nia Jax being brought into this mix. Candice LeRae. Why isn't Tiffany Stratton in this match? Well, oh, yes, she is in her. Excuse me. But yeah, Candice LeRae, it's like a square piece in a round hole. Okay? That's what I feel like right there. I mean, it's a hodgepodge. Did not care. Then you got Judgment Day together. And then Nia Jax, Candice LeRae. Right. All that there. And I'm like, okay, you're just jumping a bunch of storylines together that you want to just kind of put. So there's nothing really going on except for Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, which there's really no focus on the match for it, really. Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, okay. I guess Candice LeRae's part of that now, how they kind of just latched her in. And the whole Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, this storyline, we also haven't gotten anything from either. So no resolvement for Raquel Rodriguez coming back to avenge on Liv Morgan. They never have a match with Liv and Raquel to do anything with that, okay? Then Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, that also has not been resolved. These are just open storylines. They are not going to go and resolve them. We're not going to get some final resolution from these. It's just not going to happen. Did not care for the match. The faces win, whatever. Glowed up kendo sticks. A rainbow trash can for Io Sky to do another death-defying move, right? All these things. You put a little bit of gimmicks in here, just like a War Games match would be in NXT. Don't care. Just don't care. Baseball bats, right? Plunder across the match. That's it. That's all this was. And then the whole, Team Ripley going up on the cage to celebrate. Anyways. And some of the people that want to go ahead and make comments about this, listen, when I see some of the comments that are just saying wonderful how this was. Good War Games match. Rhea Ripley looked so badass in the mask. People are talking about the mask. So that's the part we're going to care about, the visual. When you have that they're going to say about the match, and that's what you're looking at, the mask looked cool. There were lulls, but everybody worked super hard. Yeah, so when the plunder came across and you see Tiffany Stratton and Io Sky separately going off and doing moonsaults from the top of the cage, yes, the crowd finally woke up. But they didn't really care much in that match anyway. It was not good. There's nothing we actually got resolved or anything that moved further in storyline. No progression whatsoever. Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight. This was a quickly put together feud. LA Knight's been fiddling around with Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, and Santos Escobar. And all of a sudden we get Shinsuke Nakamura in a couple of weeks, and now Shinsuke is Great Muta. It's the same thing they did with Asuka. The same thing they did with Kairi Sane. They always got to do something where just, the Japanese wrestlers, they just can't be Japanese. Just can't be the wrestlers they were. Now we're going to make a significant change about them. Make them dark, dreary, Great Muta-like. You mutified Nakamura. And not only do you do that, because now we have a gimmick change. He wins the belt off of LA Knight. And the LA Knight reason, he kind of just got discombobulated. He just doesn't have himself all the way there. Kind of like off his sorts. That's it. This is why we had the match. This is why we had everything set up towards the end. And we're happy about this, right? Like this was a good move. You had him win a SummerSlam on such fanfare. What did he do since? Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. So why do we even have this match why do we have LA Knight win the belt in the first place? He gets it. Good for him. He deserves it. Well, and then look what you do with him. So all that build up for LA Knight being such a big star right here. And now you just bury him and trash him down with Shinsuke Nakamura winning the U.S. title. So all that thought that he was being pushed together. Remember, this is the same guy that was going after Roman Reigns for the title, a year and a half ago? Or what was it, last year at Crown Jewel? Doesn't matter now. He's now down the bottom of the totem pole. So his whole gimmick doesn't matter now. It doesn't make a difference. So that's it. 10 minutes to see LA Knight drop the belt. So not even a big fanfare for that either. Bron Breakker, and they put this match together very last minute. Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser, who they're kind of fitting with each other. Then they're going to just decide to throw them into with Bron Breakker because he has nobody to go up against either. And Bron Breakker wins 15 minutes. Okay, moving along. World Heavyweight title match. Could we have told you Damian Priest was going to lose? Pretty obvious right there. And they put somewhat emphasis on Gunther, Damian Priest. Remember we had that already. The trash thing when Damian Priest was part of Judgment Day. And, now we're coming back into this again. And Damian Priest dropped the belt. Gunther, I guess this is the rematch. And Damian Priest loses again. But this is also because of Judgment Day. So we can't let Judgment Day go. So like Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, they're still going to be stuck with Judgment Day shit going into 2025. This is what the house show gets. Okay? In the house show climate, this is good because they're going to get to the storyline for as long as they want, going well into WrestleMania. Meanwhile, the TV audience, people like me, we're going to just have to sit through and bear through all this here where there's no progression at all. Finn Balor and Damian Priest now back at each other. We don't move storylines here anymore. We're in a purgatory of storylines. They don't move anywhere. We don't get anywhere. New Day now at their 10th anniversary coming up on Monday. And what about that? They're going to break up. They're not going to break up. They're fighting. What, Big E will come in here? Are we going to have the big blow up now? Festival of Friendship? And here comes the heel turn by Xavier Woods? I don't know. And the one match of War Games we had of all that actually gave us something of a storyline here that was a wrench. Do I remember CM Punk challenging Gunther, talking about going after the World Heavyweight title when he was on his way out to go be back with AJ and Larry, right? After he finished with Drew McIntyre? Wasn't that the plan? So we're going to forget about that plan. We're going to just wrench him in because we can figure out a way to do it. We do the 5-minute, like, here's Mafia Tony D'Angelo template. Okay, here's the sit down. Paul Heyman's the consigliere. Oh, and Roman Reigns, he's late. Like, the thing is, Roman Reigns is made to look so weak here. He gets disrespected. Everything he's been since he's been a face, disrespected, thrown by the wayside, keeps getting beaten up, and he needs CM Punk to be the one to help him win and get over the match. Okay. So we get to this sit-down thing, which only happened on Friday. Like the whole strain of getting Jimmy back into this, getting Jay back into this, bringing Sami Zayn into this, the band back together, I haven't cared about it. Remember, this is also an inferior bastard bloodline team you're taking on because the only guy I actually even care about is Jacob Fatu. And actually, you know what? I'll put Bronson Reed at a higher tick than I would the Tongans, to be honest with you. I was actually surprised that Bronson Reed was able to go ahead and heave himself up to the top to go ahead and take that launch into the table, which that was well done. Hey, CM Punk pulling Roman Reigns off of there because Bronson Reed and that 350 pounds or 400 pounds, whatever he is, falling on that table, Roman Reigns wasn't going to take that. Like, you were going to have to make sure CM Punk got him off that table. That was not going to work. And so you get those two opponents. Okay, that's fine. Bronson Reed, he kind of blends in with the bastard bloodline. That makes sense to me. Somehow. I mean, Seth Rollins, not to be mentioned about this, but even with Seth Rollins, would have also made sense to put him in here because they're never going to go to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. We're never going to get that at all. For whatever reason, we're never going to get anything to go on with this. And of course, because we have Seth Rollins injured because of Bronson Reed. So CM Punk inserted into this match, the WarGames match. That's the focus. Nothing about the Bloodline Civil War here. The real focus is CM Punk and Roman Reigns. CM Punk gets his favor. And then Roman Reigns and CM Punk are kind of getting a little bit of power control here. And they do two things in the cage, setting up to go out. Sami Zayn is allowed to go out before CM Punk. And then CM Punk pushes him over Roman Reigns to go out after, right? CM Punk doesn't want to be the last person. Whatever. But they put that there. Here's the animosity. But then they shake and, here's the ones. And CM Punk goes to sleep. And they finish the match. And they win it. And, the build-up to finish the end, Roman Reigns gets the pin on Solo. Got it. And Solo Sikoa is left by himself to get beaten up by all the Usos and CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. So is that the end of the bloodline, the bastard bloodline? I mean, Roman Reigns is trying to get Solo to acknowledge him. Roman Reigns is trying to get Solo to acknowledge him. So I guess the storyline has to be, are the bloodline, the bastard bloodline, are they going to finally just, capitulate? Join the bloodline, they leave. What's the story about that? Because Roman Reigns got his win. Did not like the way we got here, but they got the win. That was the thing to do in the storyline. If you're going to go ahead and have the War Games, okay, this should be the culmination of the feud, but it's not. I can almost guarantee you, nothing was set up after this. And then the other main storyline we have coming up is Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens setting up for Saturday Night's main event in 2 weeks. That's it. That's what we got. This is what the company expects to get us to be Netflix ready. Netflix is going to be all hands on deck. Do you understand that? And right now, the toxic wrestling fandom, I know, I'm just using it because it honestly is toxic. That toxic wrestling fandom incorporates my fellow podcast wrestling brethren, the dirt sheet writers, and those fans that follow all this. that are well entrenched into the lore of WWE, and they just feel like, well, everything that WWE does is wonderful as long as Triple H is booking it. And because the stars they want to see that they've been fans of since NXT Black and White, since 5 years ago at Survivor Series, when the NXT group got to be a part of this, right? Full circle, 5 years, here we go. A lot of the NXT stars are here now. And then there's also the friction with CM Punk. And the fact that he's here 1 year removed from last year's Survivor Series when he was brought in. And for whatever reason, the significance of the 1 year return put everybody online, on social media, into a fever pitch, trying to say, well, this is when AEW lost it, or this is when WWE, whatever. It's like CM Punk is just this powder keg. I, of anybody else, will say on this program, I'm going to give the bold statement, and I will say it again. I wouldn't have cared if CM Punk came back. I think he has done more damage to professional wrestling in general in both companies. The cancerous shit he's done over in AEW. We saw it on the video, okay? We saw the security camera footage. And now, because he goes to WWE, right? Gets to go and do what he wants to do over there. Can't stay healthy for the life of him. And he's here just kind of like doing whatever storylines. Okay, here's the long stretched out storyline with Drew McIntyre going way too long. And then coming back to go and get Roman Reigns. Like, why is he, he's not taking a step down. There's never going to be a step down. Of course, WWE was going to keep him in main event. That's part of the thing that was the appeal, I guess, for CM Punk as well. He was going to go ahead and stay main event. Doesn't matter how old he got. He's still main event because that's where things are going to be put. And the company just sees, well, here's a box office draw. We're going to milk him till we can't, right? And there's been so many things that have been so toxic within the social media now. The argument, the debate over, would you want Randy Orton on your wrestling roster or Will Ospreay? This kind of shit. This is mad. This is nuts. These are two generational talents. Okay? For my end of the bargain, like nothing against Will Ospreay. I think what they've been doing with him, his feud with MJF, and some of the things they've been doing with Kyle Fletcher right now and the Don Callis family, I think those storylines, as a matter of fact, have helped Will Ospreay in the long run to help develop a character for him, help develop a storyline, and help develop his promos. So I think in that respect, Will Ospreay has benefited from being in AEW there. I'll give it that. He's worked with the right people. Randy Orton, 20 plus year career, no matter what. Listen, Ric Flair always says that's one of his favorite wrestlers of all right now. You had to have somebody to be your number one draft pick right now. Randy Orton's the guy. And I agree with him. I totally agree with him. Randy Orton, in all of his career, man, listen, that guy is he's bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer. He's as consistent as John Cena, as consistent as every other major star that we've had in WWE or professional wrestling in general. Randy Orton would work well in any generation. He would work well in NWA. He would have worked great. I think he would have figured out a way in ECW because it just doesn't matter. You would have figured out something with Randy Orton. Too good a talent. And for so many years, by the way, he doesn't get hurt as much as you would think. Like he has, but man, he has had some runs where he's just been there. He's been the workhorse. He has been cranking it out. And sure, maybe the promos have not been the perfect all the time, all the way around. But you know what? For the most part, he gets a response. That guy is over. And don't matter what it is. And when Randy Orton comes out the wrestler, doesn't matter any day or time right now. I'm in, man. I'm in. So that whole storyline also, that whole debate, that's like, get out of here, okay? This is where people just don't understand. They just don't. And then the other part, where people are pissed off about Rey Fenix. And the whole story about the fact that, okay, well, Rey Mysterio, a few years back, when they were going to re-sign him, they had to go and make sure to continue to get some extra time for the time he was injured. Vince McMahon made sure to include some injury time in his contract. So his contract did not finish right away. he had an extra, 18 months or whatever it was on his contract, right? So now Rey Fenix is in the same boat. But in this current day and age, because the fans feel like they have so much autonomy right now, they feel like they have so much of a say to whoever. So they think Triple H is bending the knee to the fans. Okay? What was that, a 2014, 2013 thing, whatever it was, where Triple H was saying, we're going to give you what you want? Well, he's making the promise right now. And it's a promise that never should have been kept. Not to this level. You want to give people, listen, yeah, you don't want to go and do it like it was where you had the yes movement and you had to really force and push Daniel Bryan down people's throats to finally give him a world title. I get that part. But you also don't need to give out the entire farm and just give what these fans want. How about some suspense? How about trusting your own judgment as a professional corporate company with billions and billions of dollars and loads of staff? You're telling me you can't figure out what's best for the audience? You got to listen to them? And also the most toxic, vocal minority of fans here we're talking about too. WrestleVotes put out a post that I thought was very interesting right after Survivor Series. They said, quote, tonight marked the unofficial start of the most important and unpredictable stretch in WWE's history. Interesting way to put it. Over the next 140 days, you'll have the return of Saturday night's main event, Raw's Netflix debut, a second Saturday night's main event on NBC, a dome-sized Royal Rumble to the Toronto, the Chamber of Skydome, and both nights of WrestleMania 41. So if for Survivor Series felt somewhat underwhelming to you, it was likely by design. Now, so this is what he says here is the thing that there's a lot to be excited about. Unpredictable stretch. Forget Saturday night's main event. Forget about that. It's not as important as it used to be. Listen, Saturday night's main event went away in the mid-90s. By the way of Clash of the Champions back in WCW days. Having that show on NBC will not, listen, if they're able to go and pull off 4 million viewers on NBC in 2 weeks, I'll be impressed. You're expecting the audience to stick around and watch from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. Or 11:30 to 1 o'clock on your NBC affiliate. You're expecting this vocal minority, this toxic fandom here, they're all going to sit around and wait and watch, thinking this is going to be like a pay-per-view type event. They're going to watch on NBC 11:30 at night. Now, is that going to be taped or is that going to be live? Because that show, are you going to have long on in New York? Are people going to be staying around till 11:30 in the morning to watch this match? Is it going to happen? No. I think they're going to tape it, right? So what? Same day tape today? All right. You get the match here. I get spoilers by then. And we already know it's going to be the finals of the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. Okay. Or U.S. Title Tournament. I don't even know which one. It's one of those. Ask me if I care about either of those mid-card titles. I don't. And then we're going into Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens. We're not going to put that match on Survivor Series. We're going to take this over here and handle things on the Saturday night's main event. We're going to put the match there. Cody will win. Let's make that clear. Cody Rhodes is going to win. The fact that he decided to put this match, by the way, we're getting this Kevin Owens match after the whole deal of, well, Cody says you should deserve a match. And then somehow Kevin Owens now turns heel after everything had out with the Bloodline when Roman Reigns was with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. And then we have the whole deal of Kevin Owens turning on Cody Rhodes. And then we really didn't get too much of a reason why. We have the match with Randy Orton and really don't get much of hearing from Kevin Owens about this. And not much going on right now here either with Kevin Owens or Cody Rhodes. So they're going to just force the match that a couple of months ago was like, you deserve it, Kevin. You've been this and that. You deserve it. So we created a storyline out of that initial spark to get the match we're going to get at Saturday night's main event. And you're going to tell me that's a great match? That's a great setup and a great build? Let me mention this as well. I said this on the show on Wednesday. So now we're going to get possibly some new viewers. Some mainstream viewers are going to probably go ahead and they might turn on NBC that night. Might be looking for Saturday Night Live, or they're going to hear about Saturday night's main event. And then they're going to watch this. what if they want to go ahead and make some comments and, they're kind of casual, lazy, just lackadaisical kind of fans. And they might make some comments on social media. And if they say anything that kind of goes out of line with the toxic wrestling fandom out here, they're going to get blasted. Because as we know, there's a toxicity right now that is so sludge and thick right now amongst social media in general. And some people can't help themselves. They're just getting themselves caught up and really getting upset over everything. Listen, I'm getting the brunt of it. And like I said, I'm not afraid to go ahead and let the commentary and the clashing go back after me. That's fine. Go right ahead. And so I had somebody else today. What was it? Oh, a big LOL from Lift and Koa about the toxic wrestling fandom. But didn't say anything else, but that was it. A couple of comments on my videos that I put up, the clips that I put up on TikTok. One person, Patriot 50, commented, still can't beat out the old NWA from 1980 to 1987. Skadoosh writes to me and says, it's going to be okay, princess. Okay, I get my comments. I get my criticism here. Okay, whatever. People go ahead and get back after me. I don't give a shit. It's fine. But I look across the board and I just look at some of the comments that are being made and people just they're happy and giddy about what's going on here. And just some of the upsetness that's going on. By the way, the Ray Phoenix stuff, he actually had to go and comment about what's going on about this because of this what we just mentioned before. And Ray Phoenix goes on Instagram. He addresses the rumors that are going on. The AEW has a deal right now where they have him under contract. And it's because of the fact they're trying to say that Tony Khan's trying to keep him from signing with WWE along with his brother, Pentagon El Cero Miedo. So Lucha Brothers can't make it together. So now we have this. And Ray Phoenix says this, and this has been translated, quote, there are many things that are not known, but also things that should not be talked about. We must wait. Professionalism above all, gentlemen. We must behave professionally, not be like those from all those other podcasters out there, spitting out things that should not be spit out. Many are forgetting what wrestling has given, but in the end, we are not one of them. So he's not of any issue where he's feeling contentious right now or he feels upset. And there have been other people out there that have been commenting about the toxicities going on as well. Britt Baker's gone out there and talking about the toxicity. She's upset about it. Taz actually came out because of the fact that Collision was going to be on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. AEW respectfully not putting their Saturday night show up against Survivor Series WarGames. They put it at 4 o'clock. And somebody on X decides, we don't give a fuck. We're watching Survivor Series. And Taz has to go back and say, well, wow, so you speak for every wrestling fan out in this huge world. We're. So people consume content differently. Also, some people like vanilla, some people like chocolate, and also some people like vanilla and chocolate. There's no weird. Everyone enjoy wrestling. There's plenty available today and tonight. And then Dave Meltzer has to go overtime right now to go ahead and try to explain things and deal with some real toxic people getting upset. So one person asks about, why is Tony waiting for WWE to change? Is he not supported to be the alternative? Is he not supposed to be the alternative? Should he not be a trendsetter in this regard, or rather a follower? And Dave Meltzer explains here that because he and I and Nick Khan and Paul Levesque all know where this leads. Either you play by the same rules or you get eaten alive by the side not by playing those rules. If you were in a fist fight, you're going to say, I'm going to be nice, I won't punch you in the face, and the other guy laughs at you and punches you in the face. You're creating a huge disadvantage for yourself. That's living a reality. So the idea is that AEW is following the trend and following basically the playbook of contracts for independent contractors that WWE has done for years. And under TKO, they have not changed that. Yeah. But they expect that Tony Khan should go and do the same thing. No, wrestling is very real. It's ruthless. It's got to be done like that, right? Another person writes to Dave Meltzer says, well, it's not fair to compare with a company that's 45 years old and was run by a megalomaniac. Currently, it's a bad look, and neither company should employ these tactics on talent labeled indie contractors. The past mistakes don't excuse the current. And then Dave Meltzer says, if WWE starts releasing anyone who asks, then the game will have changed. When the game changes, Tony should change as well. Until that happens, if he does so and WWE doesn't, WWE will very aggressively try to make offers for the people to leave, even if under contract, and AEW will also end up going the same. Listen, I don't even think Tony Khan's so much caught up in that whole part of the contract and how the wrestling business is in that respect, on how to be that booker that has to be tough. Okay, he's not Paul Bosch. He's not Bill Watts here. He's not, Fritz Von Erich. Come on now. That's the whole point. Wrestling's always had this certain setup. And the thing is, he's not offering benefits either. He's not like going with the, I mean, if you wanted to be doing that, okay, what are we going to do? What Jesse Ventura asked for a long time ago, go get a union? It's not happening either. Okay? The wrestling business is still what the wrestling business is. People just got to go and deal with that. But hey, now we're at the point where this sucks. Like, I really don't like where we're at right now when it involves that we're going to be Netflix coming up soon. It's not that much more time we got left, okay? 36 days. We're roughly 6 weeks, what is it now? 5 weeks away. We're 5 weeks away right now from Netflix. The debut is imminent. Of course, they expect Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, John Cena to be as part of All Hands on Deck coming up. That we already know is going to happen. And then what? And then what? Well, storylines to set things up for it. We got Saturday Night's main event left as the one story, as one thing we got left here coming up here to see what they're going to be doing at all when it comes to getting things ready for Netflix. But at this moment, I mean, it would be nice if we had some fresh storylines to get ourselves ready for Netflix, but we're not. We're going to have storylines that have continued from last year. The Bloodline coming back together. Okay. We've had that for a while now. I mean, and the Bloodline storyline, just to rehash, like took a little bit of a break, and then we come back, 3 months later, and we have that. The Judgment Day and the storyline with that, the breakup with Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, and this whole new group that's together, and Liv Morgan and all this, whatever. It has not changed, has not moved, has not done anything. It's a big problem. And it's staleness. And going into now and to next week, and the next couple of weeks right now, is building up where there's the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament, the Women's United States Title Tournament, all this shit. And then what? And then what? I mean, we're not getting anywhere. No movement at all. But yet, if anybody like me talks about this or anybody else online talks about it, you get shit on. Well, I mean, right now, I'm not on the popular side of this here. But there's a reason things have come up like this. And what we're going to have to do now, like I said, starting Wednesday, we're going to have to go into the year of wrestling and figure out what happened. How did we get here? How did things get so toxic and bad? It was one thing where AEW and WWE fans were always at each other's throats since, 5 years ago. Fine. There was a little bit of a honeymoon period. Honeymoon period's gone. And now here we are. And it's like, when both companies are not doing well. Listen, if you think that only AEW is doing bad and you are blind to what WWE is doing right now, then you are. All right. Anyway, we're going to have to go and move along and we'll figure it out from there. Anyway, that's the show. Like I said, we will start doing our comprehensive year look in wrestling coming up, starting off on Wednesday. And we'll just start figuring out. Let's see if we can just kind of go through the moves and see what there is that is causing all this to happen. Because I really feel like we need to have some answers here. And let's just investigate. What is it that caused us to get all the way over here from wrestling to WrestleMania into AEW, All Out, All In, all this period that was going on, and so much was going on at the start of the year. What a great start. And it's just been a roller coaster down. We have not seen the way back up. Where are we now? We need something to happen. So come back this week, this Wednesday for another Wrestling Gazoo podcast because wrestling needs us.